Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. Before we get to Happy Everything, which is Monday's project for the rest of January, first I want to show you, ta-da, 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 the holiday homies. I don't have the border on. So I'm trying to decide, the borders are cut, and they're cut the full length that I bought because I'm trying to decide if I want to miter them. So if you are a fan of mitered corners on your borders, send me a note here in the comment. I'd love to hear if you think I should miter it or not. So I'm leaning towards it, but I have to think on that because I do think it would look pretty with that. What's going to happen though is I'm not sure that I can get that pattern matched. That it's going to fall exactly for all four. So I'm going to sort of mock it up, just lay them there folded and see what happens. So I'm going to try that out. Now, from that project, that is a free pattern from Tula Pink. And these are her fabrics. I had started this, at least 5 years ago or more. When she came out with the line to begin with, and then she came out with it now in flannel. So you can still get all this fabric in flannel. One of our friends, I forget who it was, maybe Suzanne, said, why don't you get one of the flannels for the backing? So that would be an option, or I could just use up all this that's left on the backing. Probably I'll do the border in the black. That's what I think. So it'll be this one, the inner border again, binding for the black. And then the rest of this, there's not quite enough, but they do have, there is a red plaid flannel, which would be like so classic, right? But that does feel, I want this to feel a little bit more like ski lodgy rather than, lumberjack. So, so I don't know. I can get this print in a flannel still. They actually have the animals, so the animal print they have in flannel, although I just don't know if I want the animal print on the back. Or I could just go with this and use it up and add a bit more to it. So I haven't decided on that yet, but I do want to go and get this one quilted once I decide the border, because it's just got to be done. And I did collect up a few pieces the other day to take over to the spa. So I actually sent 4 things over to the spa. Here's a little clip. So I went through one of the shelves I have because that's where the home was sitting, waiting its turn for binding. There's some Halloween quilts there waiting their turn for binding, but there was 3 tops. 1, 2, and 3. One of them, both of these I needed to take photos of. This is the free pattern from Morrison Park, and this one was a scrappy blocks that we were doing beginning early part of 2021, and the other is the socialites. So those 3 now are labeled, as the tops are labeled. I put the year, I put what they are, and they're going to go in that laundry basket and sit in there and wait for a decision on whether there'll be a charity quilt that I'll give to an organization so they can quilt it, or whether I'll quilt it and keep it for a while as a gift. One of them at least will be that. I think the other 2 will probably go off to be used for charity. I want to give you a little update for the Secret Lives of Color. There were some questions because there are options, and I always find whenever I give you options, people don't get it, and some people don't get it. They get a little muddled up because there are options. So you are making 1 block for each color. So the lead white is the first one, and then each time we do a color chapter, you make 1 block. But you have options. You can make it there's 3 different size options for the pattern I gave you: a 9-inch, a 6-inch like this one, or 3-inch. And then there's 2 sort of layout options. One is for all the blocks the same size, like you always make a 6-inch block for the entire year. Or you use the varied size layout that I designed, which means every week, or every chapter, for every block, I will be doing different sizes. So like the next time I might do a 3-inch or a 9-inch, and then I'll go back to a 6, a 9, a 3. So I will vary the sizes to go into that varied size layout. So you have two options you're kind of working with. One is what size block, and two, which layout. So I hope that helps. I finally had a chance to update the project page, and so it has this all plus 2 videos on there so that you can watch that. So I just wanted to bring you up to date. Always got to bring you up to date. Okay, we are going to go, I'm going to take this off the wall and put up the happy everything so we can do the next part of that. It's time to do the spooky twist for our happy everything. So this is the whole quilt from the book. You can see it. Plus there's the basket from the book. I think I'd like to do one of those in sort of Easter fabrics to have a cute little Easter basket. I don't know. I'm thinking about that. So okay, let's look at the colorations on the sampler. I mean the twist, because it is quite specific to get that image. So if your colorations are not as crisp, so there's a couple things. First of all, this is a really dark piece, and I think that helps bring that, it recedes back from you, and this is very, very light. You know, lights come towards you. So that gives you that sort of depth of vision. Then the medium scale is the one where I use some print in there. So these read more, you know, tonal, and then this one you can obviously see there's some print on it, which are owls. So I want to mimic that so that I don't lose it. Even though I'm just doing one block for the sampler for Happy Everything, I still want to keep that same look. So I'm going to go with a piece from this collection that I'm keeping out to tuck in as much as I can in here. So I'm going to go with super dark. So I've got this, which is the super dark, and the super light. So I've still got this speckle, some of this speckle, and I know, see, I'm not going to use it all up in this quilt. But then I picked the print, which has some, you know, nice imagery on it, and I can see that it is not going to blend in at all. So these are the 3 to make the spooky twist, and so that will be the block for the quilt. Then I want to tell you a few other things about what's going on with this quilt and what you can sort of look at and what I'm looking at, but let me make up the block first. I want to give you a few tips for laying this out. So in order to get the image, you want to be sure these have square triangles are all rotated the correct way. But here's a couple of tips. One is all of the corners are the dark, which is the same as my center. And then after that, you've just got rotation. So you want to be sure that your medium tone is touching each other, and then down here the medium tones are all touching each other. So when you get that, this is how you get the image. So basically this block is set next to each other, and that's how you get this great image of the well. But I think these colors turned out super good. So I'm going to sew this, and then we're going to see all of them up there on my wall together. So here is all the other blocks and this one made up. So I'm going to put this in its spot, which will be about here. Okay, so now how are we going to handle the rest of this? The royal we. So we've got 2 blocks at the bottom and then some spacer units. And so what I want to do is work on the spacer unit so that next time they're done, and then do the Merry Houses and then do the little Easter basket. But the one thing I am going to change out, because it did not turn out like I had hoped, was the ribbon part here. The light ones just disappear and it makes it look really choppy. So I'm going to take all the light ones out, and I will then make more and use them in this section. So I'll just switch them to another spot where they're all this fabric, and then I'll trade out these guys. So I'll have to have a little date with Jack, and we'll get that, Jack the seam ripper, we'll get that fixed up. Okay, I changed out the quilts in my living room to my blue quilts, and I've discovered I need a couple more blue quilts. I have nothing to hang on the door that's really blue wintry right now. So I'll have to look into finding something or making something for that and over time. And I would like to make like one more lap size blue quilt or sort of bigger wall hanging, because in my stairwell you'll see I have an Oh My Stars, but I can hang something a bit bigger there, and I would like to, make something in mostly blue and white. So let's take a look at that. So here it is. I switched out all my Christmas quilts down on the coffee table. I've got, no lost mittens. And here is the super cute pillow that I did a while back with the sweater pillow. I think it's a free pattern, so I'll link that. Now behind it, I need to make a bigger pillow here. So right now I just have that fabric on there to test it, and I think I like it. I think it looks really good. This was the ultimate beginner quilt project, the one I did in blue. I did it in like 2 or 3 colors. There's my home is. I love it. Now I absolutely need some more blue quilts. So I don't have any quilt hanging on the chair over there, but I have some pillows. And then on my ladder, I've got some. This is the Liberty Hill, and then underneath is a sampler, I forget what, a Main Street, I think. Then I put up an Oh My Stars in the hall. And then this was a sew along that we did a few years ago. Super cute, and it's blue. Blue, blue, everything blue. I am very, very excited to get to this point. This is turning out so good. It is so fun. I really have loved hunting through everything. The last couple of blocks have some spaces still for some fun fabric, like the door and the windows of the little house. I'm just loving it. I've got color wise, I think I can do just about anything I want down in this corner. I pop a little teal in there to be sure, because I'm on sort of this last quadrant and there's no teal right in there now, but I'll get some teal in there and get some other shades of the gray, and I think that will be super fun. So we'll end up having a completed top by the end of January, off to be quilted at the spa. So I love you. Mwah. See you online.